Hey guys, welcome back to Salt and Pepper Gaming. Today we're going to be talking about our top 10 best Super Nintendo games of all time.
Let's go. Well, in the early 90s, the Super Nintendo was released, and we think it's possibly one of the greatest consoles ever made.
Yeah, we grew up with the Super Nintendo, and with over 1,700 titles, picking 10 of the best games is a little bit tricky, but we think we've got the best 10 games that you should be playing now.
So let's kick off with Salt and Pepper's top 10 Super NES game.
And at number 10 is Killer Instinct, one of the best fighting games on the Super Nintendo. With all the different combinations you can do in fighting, this is one of the reasons why it was our top 10.
Yeah, like you gotta think, before it came on the Super NES, this game was actually only available at the arcade machines, and you'd be lining up waiting to play it. And then the year later, they decided to release this on the Super NES, and that was absolutely incredible. To be able to play the arcade game in your very own home in the lounge room versus your friends was absolutely incredible.
But it's in the details of the game that make it beautiful. Despite the very generic storyline of the game, Killer Instinct had the best detailed graphics and the most diverse fighters you could find compared to other fighting games found on the Super Nintendo.
We need to also talk about the music. The soundtrack on this game was absolutely incredible. It had some epic beats, it had some great songs. It was that good that they turned it into a CD soundtrack.
One of our oldest collector's editions is the Super Nintendo Killer Instinct in the box with the watch and the soundtrack. It's still sealed, which makes it one of our rarest Super Nintendo collector's editions.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We want to open it up and see what's inside, but we won't.
That's right. But that's Killer Instinct at number 10.
Well, coming in at number 9 is Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, and I think it's possibly one of the cutest games on the Super NES that anyone can play.
Yeah, it was designed to be a bit more cartoonish and a hand-drawn look than other Marios.
So Super Mario World 2 Yoshi Island made its debut on the Super Nintendo back in 1995 as a beautiful side-scrolling platform game.
I can't believe this is the last 2D Mario on the Super Nintendo until I think Super Mario Bros. On the Wii came out 14 years later.
Wow, that's actually huge. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. The difference between Yoshi and Mario is I think in the game difficulty. In Mario, you get hit more than once, like twice, you're out. And with Yoshi, it's a different story.
When Yoshi got hit by an enemy, baby Mario would float away and you had a time period to try and rescue him. And if you did, you're back in the game, which made the game a lot easier for kids, and that is why it is number 9. And coming up at number 8, one of the best fighting games on the Super Nintendo, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Yeah, this game was unreal. I know we talked about Killer Instinct being one of the best fighting games, but I think Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Street, is way, way, way better.
Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo was, for its time, the best fighting game available for a home console. Turbo has a very similar feel to its predecessor. And then there should be a
predecessor.
Okay. Can't believe we need Google to tell us how to say words. Turbo has a very similar feel to its predecessors, World Warrior, allowing you to use all your favorite players from Blanka to Chun-Li and everyone's favorite Ryu and Ken.
What made Turbo different was in its name, Turbo. You could choose a different speed setting on this game that you couldn't do before. And most people were complaining about how slow the characters moved on the screen, and Turbo just made it feel a whole lot better. Coming in at number 7, one of the best side-scroll shooting game you've ever played, Paradius.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Is this really a top 10 game? But for us, we loved playing this when we were kids, so yes, it is in the top 10.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a Japanese game series that they brought out in the early 90s, and this is just one of many that they brought out.
Yeah, this was a parody for one of the NES games, Gradius. So parody Gradius, and then that's when apparently they came up with the name of Paradius.
Well, Paradius is pretty much similar to the original NES game Gradius. It came out in the 80s, but it's that on steroids. It is such a fun Japanese game that made flying a spaceship and shooting bad guys feel so incredible.
What makes this game awesome is that you can choose between 4 characters: Vic Viper, Octopus, Thin Bee, and Pentaroo. And the more you upgrade it, the more insane the game is and the more fun it is.
What we loved about this game were the insane bosses that you were introduced to. Not only at the end of the game, but at the middle. You had like a crazy spaceship cat.
The Vegas lady.
And you had to go, yeah, it was crazy and loads and loads and loads of fun.
Yeah, and that's why it is at number 7. And at number 6 is Super Mario World. I can't believe this came out over 30 years ago, back in 1990.
Yeah, it was the first ever Super Mario game to be launched on the Super Nintendo. Now don't be confused because All-Stars came out on the Super NES as well, but they weren't original SNES games. They were old school NES games the Nintendo brought on the Super Nintendo. It made it look prettier, but Super Mario World was the first ever Super Mario released on the SNES. So the story follows like every other Mario story. You're Mario and you're meant to save the princess from the evil Bowser. The gameplay is very similar to the original, using Mario and Luigi to get through each level side-scrolling to reach Bowser.
What was special about this game is that we introduced to Yoshi for the very first time. Yoshi was being designed during the NES season, but due to technical abilities of the Nintendo, it was later introduced into Super Mario World.
What I liked about Yoshi is that he wasn't just someone that you ride on, but he actually helps you by eating most of the enemies, and if Yoshi ate a Koopa or its shell, he could actually spit it out and fire at enemies, which is pretty cool.
Similar to Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World brings back a similar gameplay feel and moves and more, introducing the Cape Feather, which gives Mario a cape and the ability to fly and glide in the air and use the cape as a sail. This game sold over 20 million copies worldwide.
Yeah, making it the best Super Mario game out of the series, and you can play today on the Switch as well. It just got released on the Nintendo Switch, which is absolutely fun and incredible, and that's why it's made it on our top 10 at number 6. Coming in hot at number 5, The Lost Vikings.
Yeah, in this game you control 3 different Vikings who all have different abilities, and you're trying to get back home to your family.
Yeah, what we loved about this game is that it had everything. It had epic music, time traveling, working together, co-op, and that's why it's on our top 10. The side-scrolling game is absolutely incredible, and for so many reasons, which we'll get into. What makes this game different is not only that you can co-op, but throughout the game you're consistently changing between each character to move further along the level. I love how in this game as a co-op you don't need split screen, you can play all on one screen.
As much as this game seems to be side-scrolling, I feel like it's more of a puzzle adventure game in disguise. It is full of puzzles throughout, and to complete these puzzles and reach the end, it will take all 3 characters working together to do so. Eric the Swift can run, jump, and smash obstacles with his head. Balog the Fierce can shoot arrows and swing his sword, but can't jump. Olaf the Stout with his huge shield can glide through levels and block any bad guys.
The overall vibe of this game can be summed up into one word. Actually, you can't. It's just a fun and quirky game, and I love how it adds its own personality and humor to the game. And this is why The Lost Vikings is in our top 10.
And at number 4, Donkey Kong Country.
This game was absolutely incredible. It was actually one of the first games to come out on the Super NES with pre-rendered graphics.
Yeah, you could play with Diddy Kong or Donkey Kong and interchanging with them too, depending on what you felt like.
Yeah, what was insane is this is the first time that Donkey Kong became the good guy. He was always seen as the bad guy.
What made this game even more fun was the fact that Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong could ride a rhino, ostrich, or even a swordfish.
Yeah, it was really cool. And the co-op system again on this game was really cool, as you could be Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong, slap each other, and it was that person's turn. Imagine a 32-bit graphic game on a 16-bit console. People could not believe their eyes.
And if you've ever played Donkey Kong Country, you know how satisfying it is when you launch from one barrel to another barrel just right.
Yeah, nailing it all the time, hey? That was the best.
Yeah, in the game you always got hidden caves to explore where you found some animals or some bananas, which made this game so awesome.
Bananas.
I
loved how the game threw in things like you had to grab all the cons, K-O-N-G, to get a prize at the end and things like that. It was so successful that all the other consoles decided to bring out Donkey Kong, and you can still play today on your Switch, which is absolutely insane. Go pick up a copy. Well, here we are, the top 3 Super NES games as reviewed by Salt and Pepper. I hope yours made it on the top 10. If not, comment below. We'd love to know what you think should be the top 3.
So at number 3 is Secret of Mana, one of the best role-playing games on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, we like Final Fantasy was absolutely incredible, but Secret of Mana was just a little bit different.
Yeah, this game was a bit different to Final Fantasy, where this was no longer turn-based fighting.
Real lifetime fighting.
Yeah, real lifetime fighting.
And it was just cool. It was really different, and that's why we love Secret of Mana.
This game's storyline revolves around a powerful force in the world known as Mana. After discovering an ancient and powerful sword, our hero's quest leads him to destroy the fortress and restore order back to the world.
So Secret Mana was actually the sequel to the Final Fantasy adventure game which appeared on the Game Boy. But what made this game special for players is that it allowed co-op gameplay, which wasn't common for most RPG games at the time.
I love how you could spend hours and hours exploring the world of Secret of Mana.
Yeah, it was really cool going into the villages, chatting with different people.
Yeah, being one of the best role-playing games, that's why it's at number 3.
Well, coming in at number 2, Nintendo's greatest racing game ever made, Super Mario Kart.
Finally, a game you can play with the Super Mario characters in a fun, light-hearted racing game.
Yeah, this game was absolutely awesome, giving you over 25 unique levels over multiple different worlds, playing on absolutely insane tracks. But this was no ordinary racing game.
Yeah, that's right. You could pick up items through boxes that you have throughout the game.
I loved how they incorporated items that are actually based on all the Mario games. So you had the shells, you had your bananas from Donkey Kong, you had like the fire spinning thing
Yeah,
from when
and
you were
mushrooms
Mario.
to give you a bit of a boost. And even in multiplayer, having battle mode where you have 3 balloons and your job is to pop his
Yeah,
other
balloon.
balloons. It was such a simple idea, but it was such a fun mode to play.
Super Mario is the 4th best-selling game on the Super Nintendo system with over 8.76 million copies sold. And what is incredible about this game is that it has taken off on all other platforms that Nintendo have ever released.
And before we get to number 1, we have an honorable mention of Star Fox. While it was a great game, it was perfected in our eyes on the Nintendo 64 as Lylat Wars.
Yeah, you'll probably see it in our Nintendo 64 best top 10, but we thought it needs to be up here, and we wanted to talk about why Star Fox is possibly one of the greatest games made on the Super NES. Star Fox is the first game in its series, and the story follows the main hero of the game, Fox McCloud, and the rest of his team who are called to defend the home world of Corneria against the invading forces of Andross.
But what makes this game unique is how it pushes the technical abilities of the Super Nintendo to the next level. Star Fox achieved what no other game could on the Super Nintendo thanks to a special graphics chip called the Super FX. The Super FX is what allowed Star Fox to look like it belonged on the PS1 with 3D polygon graphics, which makes this look insane.
Star Fox was an incredible game for the SNES, but its full potential was released on the Nintendo 64, which you'll see in an upcoming episode.
And that's why it is our honorable mention on the Super Nintendo top 10.
The number 1 game on the Super Nintendo, as voted by us and no one else, but I think everyone else would agree, is...
Zelda, A Link to the Past.
Yes, this game was absolutely breathtaking and incredible, and it set up an incredible series for the rest of the Zeldas to come.
Yeah, one of the best role-playing games on the Super Nintendo, but probably the best role-playing game ever.
The game sold more than over 4.6 million units worldwide, but it was also a landmark game for Nintendo, and it's considered one of the greatest games of all time.
This game was so good that it has been converted into many other consoles like Game Boy Advance, the Wii, the 3DS, the Wii U, and the Nintendo Switch.
So what's this game all about? Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. It's an action-adventure game focusing on a hero, Link, and his journey to save Princess Zelda and save Hyrule from the evil Dark Lord Ganon.
What I love about this game is that it's near perfect. The storyline, the music is absolutely incredible. The effects, the quests, the hidden items, and the story. And then the twists, the challenges of the game. It has it all. And remember, we are talking about a game 30 years old. So there you have it, our top 10 Super Nintendo games of all time in our eyes, and of course Zelda at number 1.
Yeah, so we'd love to see what you would have put as your top 10. It probably would have differed from us. Maybe put a comment below and let us know what your top 10 would have been.
So subscribe, hit that like button, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Salt and Pepper Gaming.
We'll see you next time.